Today, I thought I would tell a little pantyhose story. Something a little different. I was reminded of Payless, watching somebody else's video. They were talking about Payless, and it reminded me of a story. Now, I started wearing pantyhose when I was 7 years old. And I'm so old now that you get a lot of stories, a lot of memorable events. And this one is like the most G-rated story, so I thought I would start with this one, see if anybody likes them or not, because I have a lot of stories. But when you're completely cross-dressed, you kind of get what you see. You know, if you walk into a store or something, you're cross-dressed, people see you, and that's what you get. They say, okay, cross-dresser, trans, and that's what it is. Some of the most fun I've had is just going out as a guy wearing pantyhose. And some of those memories are pretty good. So let's get comfortable and start the story. Okay, this happened when I was about 25 years old, so it's been a long time ago. But I decided to go to Payless shoe store, and I went as a guy. I was wearing a long sleeve tie-dye t-shirt, and I pushed the sleeves up to my elbows, so it was really bright colored. And I was wearing like pale baby blue shorts, men's shorts, and I cuffed the legs to make them a little bit shorter. And before I left, you know, when you're at home and you're all brave, I thought I would wear full support pantyhose because I thought they were a little thicker and might be a little bit more noticeable. So, you know, when you're at home thinking, oh, yeah, I'll do this. But then when you get out and you get to places, then your confidence starts to go down a little bit, like, maybe I should have wore something a little more sheer. But anyway, I walked into Payless near my house just a few minutes after they opened, so it was early in the morning. And when I walked in, if you live in the U.S. and you're an older cross-dresser, you know the layout of Payless. Cross-dressing superstore, because they sold women's shoe sizes up to size 13, so you pretty much know the layout. But when I walked in, there was a younger girl working the cash register, and another lady, maybe like around 30 years old, just a little older than me, and she was talking to her, and apparently she was like the manager or another sales lady. And when I walked in, she said, "Hi, is there anything I can help you with? You need me to show you anything, where anything is, blah, blah, blah." And I said, I was just thinking about looking for some tennis shoes or some sneakers or something. And she said, okay, what size? And I said 11s. And she said, follow me, and walked me down the aisles until we got to the men's shoes, size 11. She said, here you go. And she said, do you need any help with anything? I said, no, I'm just going to look around a little bit. And she started to walk away, and then she looked at me and she said, I like your outfit. It's so colorful. And I said, thank you. I like to stand out a little bit. And she said, well, let me know if you need any help. And she walked away. And I totally am positive she did not notice that I was wearing pantyhose. I'm sure of it. But I'm just kind of looking around, And the door, when you walk in, have a little bell that rings, and I heard the bell ring, and she said pretty much the same thing to another guy that walked in, and he's like, no, I don't need any help. And within 15, 20 seconds, he's back there in the same place that I am with the men's shoes. And he definitely was giving me a couple of looks, but he didn't say anything. And I thought, well, whatever. You know, your heart gets going a little bit, kind of exciting. But he's looking at shoes, you know, like 8 feet away from me, and I'm pulling out shoes and looking at them, and I could see him, you know, out of the corner of my eye, kept turning and looking at me and looking down at my legs, and it gets your heart pumping, you know what I mean? It's kind of exciting. But I pulled a pair of shoes out that were just like slip-on shoes with leather ruffles on the front of the shoes, and put them down on the ground, just dropped them. And I was wearing black men's tennis shoes, sneakers. So I slipped my feet out of them. So now I'm just standing there in my stocking feet, and I was wearing support hose, so they had really heavy toe reinforcement, so they're pretty noticeable. And I slipped one of my feet in it, and I'm looking at it, and he's still giving me that side eye. And then he looked at me, and he said, I like those. Those look pretty good. And I said, yeah, I kind of like them too. And he's just looking at them, looking down at my legs. One foot still wasn't in a shoe. And he said, you know, I really admire your nerve. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I would never be able to wear pantyhose in public like that. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. You know, I like wearing them. And he said, yeah. He said, I like wearing them too. And he said, I'm married, and a few years ago my wife caught me wearing her pantyhose, and it was some trouble for a little while, but she kind of got over it and lets me wear them around the house, but I would never have the nerve to wear them out in public. I said, well, I kind of like doing it. And he's like, well, I respect your nerve. And he looked around, took some shoes out, and started to walk away after a couple minutes and said, well, it was nice to meet you. You have a great day. And I was, thank you, thank you. And he left. And I thought, wow, that was cool. And your heart's going, you know, that was nice. I like that. That was fun. It's a lot of fun. But after he left, I didn't really see any of the men's shoes that I was interested in. And I walked up the aisle to the women's, and they had the whole end of the aisle was full of women's sneakers. So I start looking at those, and I'm just looking through the boxes and looking at them. And the sales lady comes back around the corner and says, oh, are you doing okay back here? And I said, yeah, I'm doing okay. And she said, you were looking for sneakers, right? And I said, yeah. I didn't really see anything back there that I liked. And she said, well, these are women's sneakers. Is that okay? And I said, well, really, I'm just being nosy now and seeing what you got. And she said, okay. Is there anything I can do to help you? And I was like, I don't think so. I'm just kind of looking around right now. And she was probably like 8 feet away, and she takes 2 or 3 more steps toward me, and she is definitely now checking me out. I mean, I could see her eyes going down, looking at my legs, and she just kind of smiled and said, you got your own little unique look going on, don't you? And I said, well, I like to stand out just a little bit. And she just smiled, kind of laughed a little bit, and said, well, good for you. And she said, "Is there anything I can do to help?" And I said, I don't really think so yet." And she said, I don't know if she thought I was like self-conscious about it or what. She said, "Would you rather I just leave you alone to shop, or if you need anything, just let me know." And I said, "No, I'm not antisocial or anything. I just don't know if there's anything you can do to help me right now." And she said, "Okay, well, I'll check back on you in a minute." And I was like, "Fine, that's fine." And I pulled down some sneakers and I'm looking at them. And she wasn't gone more than a minute or so. And she popped back around the corner. Oh, and I didn't put my shoes back on. When I went from the men's to the women's, I was just carrying my shoes. So when she was standing there talking to me, I was just in my stocking feet with reinforced toes. So, and like I said, she was looking, but no bad reaction or anything. But she was gone for a minute or so, and she came back around the corner, and she had some packages in her hands down at her waist. And she said, I don't want to bother you at all." And I said, "You're not bothering me. What do you need?" And she said, "Well, I thought I'd show you these because I think it would go really well with the outfit you're wearing right now." And she walked up to me and held 2 packages of pantyhose. And they were both black, and one was like geometric patterns, and the other one was black pantyhose with black polka dots. And she said, "I really think these would go well with the outfit you've got on." So I took them. I just smiled and laughed, and I looked at them. I said, "Yeah, I like them. They're pretty nice." And she said, "Well, our hosiery selection is up front." And she said, "If you want to take a look, go ahead and take a look at them." And I was like, "Okay, I might do that." And then she said, "Is there anything in particular you're looking for?" And I said, "No, I just I looked at the men's shoes and I didn't really see anything that like popped. So I was just being nosy really and seeing what the women's had." And she said, "Well, do you want me to pull some sneakers for you that you might like?" And I said, "Well, I don't care if you want to do that." So she went and started pulling boxes of sneakers down, stacking them up next to one of those benches that you sit on. And she started opening the boxes and said, "What about these?" And I was like, "No, those are nice." They had multicolors, like, really neon greens and oranges and stuff. And I was like, "Yeah, that's nice, that's nice." But then she opened up these packs. She said, "Oh, I don't know if you would like flowers or not, but we have these." And they were like gray sneakers with multicolored flowers that started at the toe and went all the way around. And they were really colorful. And I was like, yeah, I think I like those." And she said, "What, do you want to try them on?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I'll try those on." And she said, "Do you know what your shoe size is in women's shoes?" And I said, "Nah, we'll probably have to try a couple pair on until I find some that fit." And she said, "Well, wait a minute, I'll go get a sizer." And I said, "Oh, you don't have to do that." She said, "No, it's fine. I want to help." So she went around, came back a minute later with one of those metal shoe sizers that you put your foot in. And she sat down on the bench and put the metal plate on the floor and said, "Here, put your foot in here." And she opened it up as wide as it would go and said, "I'll be very careful, I promise. I'm not going to snag your pantyhose." So I put my foot in there, and she measured them and said, "Well, it looks like size 12 is what you need." So she got up, pulled the shoes. She had to go back to the shelf and find them in a size 12. And then she sat back down. She opened them all up, pulled the laces out, said, put them on the floor and said, "Here, go ahead and stick your foot in here." And I was like, "Wow, this is great service, dude. I didn't know shoe stores still did this." And she said, "No, I'm happy to help." So I put my foot in it, and she tightened it up, laced it up, and said, "How does it feel?" And I said, "It feels pretty good. I think it fits." And she said, well, here, let's put the other one on. So she held it on the floor till I put my foot in there. And she laced it up, and I walked around a little bit. And she said, I like those. She said, I think they'll go with your look. She said, you've got your own little look going on here, and I think it'll work. I said, well, I like these. I think I'll take them. And she was like, great. And she said, is there anything else? You know, any other shoes, or do you want something else? And I said, I don't know. I really hadn't looked yet. And she said, well, are you opposed to like women's flats or dress shoes? And I said, no, not if it's something that I like. And she said, well, just give me a minute. Let me pull some stuff down that I think you might like. So she starts pulling all of these shoes down, stacking them up next to the thing. And I'm just sitting there watching her. I still didn't have, you know, I pulled the sneakers off that she tried on me, put them back in the box. So I'm still just standing there in my stocking feet. And she's got them all stacked up there, and she starts opening them. And she said, you know, when I first seen you walk in, I could not figure out how your legs look so smooth. And then she just kind of laughed and said, I wasn't expecting pantyhose, so I didn't think about it, but your legs look so smooth, I couldn't figure out why. And I just laughed, and I said, well, I like the way they look, and I like the way they feel. And she said, that's good, that's fine. And then she said, here, try these on. And she held them down, and I slipped my foot into them. And she had pulled like, I don't know, 8 or 10 pairs. So I sat there and tried them all on, and she got to like ballet flats, and she said, now these are, you know, good to wear with anything. She said, you can wear them with shorts if you're comfortable with that. But she said, I really think they would look good with jeans because they show just a little bit of foot. And she said, I think that would look pretty good. And I said, yeah, I like them. And she said, well, you need basic black ballets. And I said, okay, I think I'll take those two. And then she found another pair of, they were like gray plaid ballet flats. And she said, I like these, and I think they'll go with pretty much anything you wear too. So I tried those on, and I was like, yeah, I like these too. And we tried a few others on that I didn't care for. And then she had a couple of pair of like women's dress shoes. And I tried one of those on, and I like them a lot too. And she said, yeah, those work. And so I thought, I'll take these too. So I ended up buying 3 pairs of flats, 2 ballet type flats, and a pair of dress shoes, and then the flowered sneakers. Those sneakers also lead to another story later, but that's another story. But yeah, I picked out 4 pair in total, 3 flats and the sneakers. And she said, I'm glad I could help. And I said, well, thank you. You know, I wasn't really expecting you to spend so much time. And she said, no, I'm happy to help. And she said, I'll take these up to the front. Did you want to look at any hosiery? And I said, yeah, I think I'll take a look at them. So she carried those up front. I followed her, and she showed me where there's a small little area of hosiery. I actually didn't even know that Payless sold hosiery. But I was looking at those, and she came back over, and she's pulling out packs and saying, you know, these, you know, would work good with your outfit if you're not opposed to wearing black pantyhose. I said, no. Actually, I had never worn black pantyhose with shorts before, but I said, no, I think I could do that. So I picked out a pair of black with the black polka dots on them. I said, yeah, I'm going to take these. So I went up, paid for them, paid for the shoes, and left, and it was just, it was a great day. It was so much freaking fun. But experiences like that you can't really get when you're completely cross-dressed, because it's not anything unusual. If you go in there cross-dressed, you're going to buy women's shoes, you're going to be wearing pantyhose probably, so it's not a big deal. It's just doing some things as a guy wearing pantyhose is so much fun. And I have a lot of stories. If anybody's interested, maybe I'll tell some more. But that's all for that one. Goodbye, guys, and have a wonderful day.